Excited to have Trent Duckett, the one, the only Trent Duckett, with us tonight to share his story. But before we do that, why don't we go ahead and open with a word of prayer? Dear Lord, you protect and care for us in ways that we don't always understand or don't always see. We confess that we do not always appreciate or thank you for your care over our bodies, over our souls, and for that we confess, and we are thankful that you have forgiven us and strengthened us through your Son Jesus Christ, giving us a reason to live, a reason to spread our story. We ask that you would bless us this evening in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Now, Trent's got a special song he wants to share. Oh,
Do you think the kids know it?
I don't know. Anyone?
You guys, it's Camp Silka song, so maybe it doesn't have to be kids that know it. Camp song?
Oliver,
right.
did you learn any songs
So,
at Camp Silka?
We're going to do My God is So Big, So Strong, and So Mighty. You know that one?
I know that.
You know that one? And then the mountains are his, and the rivers are his, and the stars are his handiwork too. Yeah, why don't you get up here and do the hand, the hand motions? It's pretty easy. Adults, do anybody know this song? Come on, you don't know this song? Oh, well, it repeats, so you'll get it after the first time. Are you ready?
Stand up.
Oh, everybody stand up. Yep. So it's pretty, my God is so big, he's strong, and he's mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do, all right? And the mountains are his, rivers are his, stars are his handiwork too. And then we repeat, all right? You got it? We can do this. All right, are you ready?
We're ready.
Okay. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. Repeat that. No, yes for you in there. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the rivers are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do for you. All right, that was it. Good song, good song. Camp Silka. Hey, thank you. Will do.
Let's get out of here.
Okay, my turn. I'm on.
And by the way, if you have questions, when Trent's done talking, you have to talk into the microphone to ask your question. So raise your hand and I'll come to you. Otherwise, we can't hear it through the link on the YouTube thing. Okay?
All right. Hey, it's honor, privilege, pleasure to be here to get to share my story with each and every one of you. Now, many of you here know who I am, Trent Duckett. I still, whenever I talk about church, I usually mean this place, this building has been such a huge part in my life. The people here, the pastor that I pretty much had for my life growing up, Pastor Helmkamp, growing up, and I know Pastor Fanning before that, but my years of growing in my faith, so much are reflected by this place and the people in it. Very special place that we have here. My mom helped me and got all my pictures together for me. I looked at the slide show of pictures right when I got here. So some of them may not touch up right with where I'm at in my speech, but I'll kind of show you some things as we talk and as I share about my life and my story. I'm going to tell you, I hope you brought your Kleenexes, folks, because it's going to get emotional in here. I'm sure that my mom will cry. And my aunt will probably cry, and my wife will cry. Anybody that's on, kind of that Cox side, look at her, she's crying already. So any of that is pretty common, and I'm sure you guys all know that from being around our family. But just to give you a little bit, to tell you a little bit of my story, this is me right here with my eye patch on. I can't even tell you how long I had to wear an eye patch. My mom would be able to tell you better than I. I was born with strabismus, so I had eye surgery whenever I was 18 months old, I believe. I can't even tell you which eye it was. I guess probably the one Okay, so I had to switch. So just as we talk about life and going through life and growing up, that's something that has played a role in my life in understanding that life's not always that way. And sometimes we look at people, because sometimes, even now today, if I'm looking at you, one of my eyes may not be, right? So I've grown up to understand that people might tease or make fun of or whatever that is. And that's just, it helped me learn about what other people go through. So every situation that we face, everything that we go through is an important part of our life as it leads to who we are as adults. So young people here listening, I hope you pick up on some things because I learned a lot from going through life. So learn from my mistakes, right? That's what we always want. Parents want for you. The adults around you want to learn from their mistakes so you don't have to live them. But when you do, we still pick ourselves up and live our lives through them. But this is me. Have no idea how old I am there. And then this is at Grandma Jean's house. And am I the baby? Okay. So I'm the baby there with Santa Claus. And so Santa Claus would visit us every Christmas Eve at Grandma Jean's house after coming here for our Christmas Eve service. So the whole family would be here. We'd be in the Christmas program, which I can remember many good Christmas programs and having fun with that throughout time. But then going over to Grandma Jean's and Santa Claus coming to see us. So very fun as we go through that. This is my sister, Kindy. And then let's see, some of these, I can look back there, all right? Yeah, so Aunt Loretta here. I'm assuming that's me at my birthday. I don't know who that is. Can't tell which cousin that is. And then what is that, Chad, Brad? Chad. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So then they're at Grandma Jean's. Here you go. Some more pictures of me. Kind of looks like Tice a little bit. That guy right there does. I don't know. A little bit, maybe? Well, I might be chunkier than Tice. But he was a bigger baby than me. I mean, he was a bigger baby than me. When you think about your parents, I don't know how old I am there, but I look older than that, but that's probably same time frame of how old if he was 30. I just turned 35, so I'm 35 years old. So just kind of going through thinking about, there's Christmas program right there. I was a sheep, right? Yeah. Some more people you might know right here. That's Kevin Hurtis, if you guys know him. All right. Somebody also, when you think about people you look up to, you never seem as old as them. So I know that I one day was a senior in high school. Maybe that was their junior year in high school that happened. But I was a junior and senior in high school, and I'm sure there were kids that looked up to me, but I never felt as old or as cool as those guys did. And I think we probably all remember those times where we looked up to people, and I never quite felt as cool or as old or like, man, yeah. But there are people that look up to you, right? So you young ones here, there definitely are people that are always looking up, always watching you, always wondering, man, what would it be like to be them? So that's an important thing to think about as you grow and as you mature. So I got some notes here that I want to make sure that I hit and don't miss out on anything. So you see a little bit of my family. Of course, sports is a big part of my life, but I do want to focus again on church and what this place has meant to me. So it goes back to Sunday school. I've had some phenomenal Sunday school teachers right here in this place. All right. I can remember Mrs. Jesgars teaching me in second grade. We were in the second room over there. And I can remember the first time that I ever had to memorize a Bible verse. And that Bible verse was Psalm 46, verse 1. Does anybody know what that Bible verse is? Anybody? This is Bible trivia. I was really good at that too, right, Mr. Shambo? I was, right? But Psalm 46, verse 1 is, God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. All right? First Bible verse I ever memorized, other than I'm sure I did for some program. That's the one that actually stuck with me. And how important that verse would be in my life with the number of things that I've been through. And we'll get to some of those things a little bit later. But how that verse is always played out and is always true. It's not just true for me. It's true for each and every one of you. It most certainly is. That God is always there, no matter what goes on. Though the mountains give way to the sea, all those things. God is there for all things, all things. So I kind of talked about this Wednesday group that you have, all in. So I kind of tied in my to consider the theme, which I think maybe Pastor Helmkamp used to do with his sermons. He would start out a little prayer, and he would like us to consider the theme, and then he would give us the theme for the sermon. So it's finding God in all situations, good and bad, because he's there all the time. So I was talking about Sunday school teachers, how important those are. And I know now over at St. John's, where I'm a member now, it's hard to find Sunday school teachers. It's hard to find people that are willing to volunteer and be a part of that. And this place has a bunch of great volunteers. Holy Cross does. You think about the number of people that have been involved in things throughout. I don't want to leave anybody out, so I don't want to name a lot of names. But I know Mr. Shambo, John Shambo, huge part of my life growing up. And when did we see each other? When did we see each other, John? We saw each other Sunday school, Bible Bowl, and church on Sundays. They sat right in front of me in the pew in front of me for I don't know how many years. And we would talk about the Bears. I'm a Packers fan. He's a Bears fan, so I always won those conversations. He's a Cubs fan. I was a Cardinals fan, so I always won those conversations. We even did some gambling in church where we would bet on how the outcome of Cardinals and Cubs game would go. But to have people that are impactful in your life that are faith-driven, that it's about sharing God and sharing Jesus' love, you don't know how that's going to impact their life later. And where if I wasn't a part of this place, all of the things that have happened in my life that God has led me to may not have happened. Okay? Kids, I know sometimes, high school kids, church, boy, Sunday mornings is awful early, 9 o'clock service, right? And 8 o'clock, 10:30, whatever it is. Church was never an option for me. So parents, those of you that say church is not an option, it shouldn't be an option for kids. Mason, right? You hear that? It's not an option, okay? It should never be, oh, I don't want to go. It's not an option because this is the forgiveness of sins place. This is where that happens. It is so important that we are in these pews, in these seats to, as a group, receive, be a part of and receive confession and absolution, right? That's what we believe as Lutherans. That's what we talk about, is we talk about these important foundational things of our doctrine, of our beliefs. And that's why we have to be here, because we're sinners. Now, because we're sinners, we're like, I could miss this week. What's the matter? God's going to forgive me anyway. But you miss out on opportunities that you have to connect with people. Now, I can't stand up here and say that I've never missed a Sunday of church. Okay? I'm a sinner just like each and every one of you. So I miss church. But when we miss church, we should miss it. Miss the forgiveness that we receive. Miss the time to be with our church family. So it's very important that we do those things, that we continue to grow and connect with one another, right? Great relationship. Pastor Helmkamp and his family moved here when I was in third grade, I believe, right? Rose, is that right? Third grade? And get to meet Travis and Robert and Kimberly, who were then a part of my life through Sunday school, through school, all those things. To be a part of a family is so important. It is not common to have the same pastor for 23 years, 25. How long were you here, Pastor Helmkamp? 22 years. That's not common. And I've seen that over at St. John's, where I'm at now. 6, maybe 7 years is kind of the normal. And so we have been very blessed here to have what we have and to grow with what we've grown here at Holy Cross. So it's been an amazing, amazing ride. And I can't thank this place enough, because without it, I wouldn't be the person that I am. I wouldn't be, the faith-based person that is not afraid to stand up in front of people and talk about my faith and to share my faith. I love doing it. I'm not nervous to stand up here and tell you, because I'm firm in my faith. I know what I believe. I know that my Redeemer lives. All those great songs that we sing, those have meaningful impact to what we grow up to be in life. So absolutely have loved every bit of my experience here. Favorite hymn, Lift High the Cross, right? It's my favorite hymn. And then Onward Christian Soldiers is a close second. All right, that one's maybe not as much of a staple, but I know I always heard the story about when this church was built. It was before me, 1984, something like that, 82, somewhere in there. And my grandpa, Papo, that was sang whenever they put that cross up there. And so that was always very meaningful to me to know that my family has been a part of this place, and this place is a part of my family as much as it is. So it is an absolutely great place to be. So that tells you a little bit about my church life. Again, now been away. Still did church during college. Mason, did you hear me? Okay. But here's what I'm going to say. I had help there too, because I was fortunate. I went to Concordia, Wisconsin. And then my cousin, Stephanie, and her husband, John, lived there too. So I had connection there. And it was kind of like having parents there. We'll see you at church tomorrow, right, Trent? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there, right? I'm not saying that I didn't go out and do things, but we still made it to church on Sunday, right? So, again, having that family connection has been just an absolute blessing to do that. So what are the challenges that I'll show you some more pictures. Hey, who's that guy? He's here. See him? He's right there. Put my laser on him now, okay? So throughout life, had a great opportunity to be a part of some great teams. As we talk about family, you get to grow and build relationships with people. So this guy that I every Sunday at church, he wasn't. I mean, and he was way calmed down by the time I was in high school, but still hard on us, right? Still hard on us. And having people that hold you to a standard is important in your life. That's very important to have. Somebody that holds you to a standard but still builds you up and still lets you know that they care about you and love you. I've had great coaches in my life, Coach Curtis being one of them that I would put up there high on my list, and I only had him for 1 year. He was my freshman basketball coach. So that was my freshman basketball team right there. But it was a great opportunity to have that. I've had other great coaches as well. I would put my dad in that category, although maybe sometimes he held me to, like we'd get on me pretty hard. And I know that I probably was a little bit too involved or too winning was too important for me sometimes. And I've come to grow as an adult that winning is definitely not everything. Now it's still important at a certain level, but for my dad to play catch with me every day after school, we would go out and we would play catch. That's what we're doing. We're going to do our basketball drills. We're going to shoot. We're going to do all these things, which I know a lot of you guys, a lot of you parents have done with your kids in whatever that they love, whether it be sports, whether it be school, whether it be dance, whether it be gym, whatever that is, to take care of them and make sure that your kids get everything out of you that they can. And I feel like sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have a lot to learn from my parents, from my dad, from my mom. I could be better at that with my kids. I most certainly could. They're growing up to that age where I need to step up and do some of those things too, and hold them to that and get them out in practice and make them fall in love with whatever it is they want to fall in love with. Not push them into anything, but make them fall in love with whatever activity is they want to fall in love with, and then get wholeheartedly behind them and support them, because that's what my parents did. And I love them for that. I always will love them for that. And it's very, very, very important for me to know that they stood behind me every step of the way. I was fortunate enough to get to play on good basketball teams. Actually, we weren't that great in high school. We were good as freshmen. Good football teams. Broke my foot my senior year. I was the starting quarterback. Sophomore, junior, and then senior year, I broke my foot. Had to miss 5 games towards the end of the year. Got fortunate enough to get to come back and play in our last couple. But that's just a part of God using different situations to get you through things that you go through, to rely or lean on him. But a good bunch of guys right there that I was able to play with. Baseball, we were a solid baseball team too, and had a lot of fun with those guys there. There's Pastor and Robert right there. Okay, and then got to go to Concordia, Wisconsin. Continued. Oh, sorry. Here's some more church pictures. All right. I'm not sure what that is. Church. What is that? Okay. Okay. Football cookout. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, that's Kirsten down there. Okay. This is church because that's the shed right there. Wiener roast. Oops. I wasn't really ready to talk about that part yet. I'm going to skip ahead. Skip. There we go. So got to play baseball at Concordia. Played football my freshman year too. But had a great opportunity to be involved in things even further beyond high school. And it was an absolute blessing to get to do that and have fun with those guys and continue to grow. There's my sister. It's not Kayla. It's my sister and mom and dad. Mom can tell you this funny story about, she may not think it's funny, this funny story about whenever I was pitching and I wasn't real happy with the way I was doing, all right? And I might have let this word out of my mouth that I shouldn't have let out of my mouth, like pretty loud. And my mom from the sidelines just starts screaming at me about what I said and how that was inappropriate and yada, yada, yada. Something I'll never forget either. So you learn from some of your mistakes too, right? So always holding you accountable for what you have. But whenever we get into some of these things, this is graduating college. Good deal. Had opportunity to student teach up there. This is my senior year. So coached basketball up when I was up there at school too for First Emmanuel Lutheran. And then, there's Aunt Lorene and Aunt Laura came up. I can't even remember. I got an award because this was all post cancer, right? Yeah. Coach, great opportunity to coach. So I'm going to jump into talk a little bit about, because like I said, some of these pictures are out of order. High school, going back to that, because I want to talk to my high schoolers here. I got a couple, right? Got some here. What? Oh, and Mason back there. Oh, see, this has nothing to do with high school. I got to get to it. Find it. Is it? Did I pass it? Car.
Oh, keep going. It's at the very end.
Oh, it's at the very end. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about peer pressure. Even though I'm not going to say that I was peer pressured into this specific thing. So oh man, missed it. Oh, there we go. So this was my car when I was 16. This is a 2002, 2001 Chevy Monte Carlo Super Sport. Black leather interior, sunroof, heated seats. Oh man, it was cool. This is what NASCARs were. Monte Carlos was a version for NASCAR. So thought I was pretty cool with it, right? 16-year-old. I had a driver's ed teacher that's sitting in this room who must not have really. No, just kidding. We would go out and the curves around the dam and over on the other side, it's kind of like a road course, right? So you can get down in those. You kind of do time trials across the dam, right? See how fast you can do it. And that's a macho thing, a machoism thing. Like, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to be pretty cool. And so this was when I'm 16. I've had my driver's license for 4 months, probably. Never driven to Finley. By myself, probably at all, let alone going the country way, let alone doing it at night. And we said, hey, you know what? We're cool guys, invincible. We're going to race to Finley, country way. We're racing. Hey, I was racing an S10 Chevy truck. Who do you think got off the line first? I did, right? So I beat him off the line, heading down the road. Didn't see a curve come up over, you go down. I end up flipping my car nose to tail. So I didn't barrel roll it. We went nose to end 5 times. And then this is what my car looked like whenever it was all said and done and pulled out of the cornfield. And here's the amazing part, and it's a part that still gives me chills whenever I think about it and talk about it. So it wasn't just me in there that came out okay, right? It wasn't just me. It was all 5 of us that were in there. So I was a sophomore. So I had Derek, who was a freshman. I had Neil, who was a junior. And then I had 8th grader and a 7th grader with me. That's how cool I thought it was and how invincible I thought it was. I thought, hey, we're going to be fine. And I idiotically put 4 other people's lives and my own in danger, acting selfish, stupid, whatever it might be. By the grace of God, we'll put it that way, we came out of that car with, I believe, this is me, right? This is, I think we had 18 stitches. 7? I had no stitches. I still have scars on my hands and where there was glass in my hand from the windshield. But Neil had 7 stitches. Okay. The car ended up on its roof. I was hanging upside down. I was out. I was knocked out. So the people in the car behind me came running out. They thought I was dead. And so just the trauma of putting those people, my friends, through that experience. I remember hitting the ditch, and then the next thing I know, I was in the ambulance. Now there was quite a bit of time in between there. I have no idea. People have told me that I was up talking to them and asked them how they were, but I don't remember any of that. But we're all wearing our seatbelts. Seatbelts are important, right? Seatbelts are an important part of what we do. And sometimes we hop in the car and think, I don't need to worry about it. It's not too far, or I'm not going to do anything stupid like this guy. But they do save lives. One of the things also that was a very humbling experience was then going to, this is brother and sister, right? Going to have to talk to their parents and tell them how sorry I was, and tell them how I had made a choice that put their children, and their only 2 children, their lives at risk. I did that because I thought I was cool, because I knew what I was doing, because, hey, I'm 16, I've got this under control. Luckily for me, God had it under control, and God protected us. How many times do we look in the news and it doesn't go that way? And I don't know why. We don't know why things happen in our life. We don't know why the 5 of us are safe, and sometimes lesser wrecks end in other ways. And a lot of times we have those questions of God of, why does this happen? Or I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just know that in this instance, God wasn't finished with me here yet. And God protected us. God led us through that situation. But don't let opportunities to be smart fade away. You don't have to be cool when it comes to that stuff, because I'm very fortunate to be standing here. I'm very fortunate that I didn't have to tell those parents that something terrible had happened to their kids. I'm very fortunate that I wasn't in jail for something like that happening, because I thought I could hot rod around. So learn from my mistakes. Learn that seatbelts are important. Learn that it's not that important to be cool, especially when you're dealing with other people, and how that plays into it. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
I remember the night. I remember laying in bed. Is it on?
Yep.
Okay, laying in bed, and I heard sirens that night. And then we get the phone call, and was it Chad? I think it's Chad Brackwell. Said, Trent's been in an accident, but he's okay. He's at the hospital. Just, you need to come to the hospital. We had no idea any of the rest of these kids were in it, So we get out of the hospital, and all of a sudden we start seeing the parents for these other kids, and we're thinking, what's going on here? And we had to take Trent. They wanted him to go to Decatur to be tested, but it was just amazing that, 7 stitches coming out of that.
So yeah, blessed there. And then that was the next car that I got. So I asked him why in the world he would do that. So I got a faster car as my second car. However, I was scared to death to drive, so I didn't drive for a couple months, or very much, maybe to school and straight back. And then we don't drive that ever anymore. Still have it. I've had this. So I've had that since I was 16. It still sits in a shop somewhere. Hardly ever drive it. So that's a real world experience of God protecting and God taking care. Let's see here. What's next on my list? Just a couple other things, just before I get into like the cancer part. Had other things come up in life, family. Lost my grandpa. I've lost both of my grandpas now. Both my grandmas are still here. One grandma right here, Granny's right here. And then you guys all know Grandma Jean. But I've lost both of my grandpas. Lost Papo when I was 7 or 8, somewhere in there. And relationship building there. Grandma Jean and I had a relationship where she would come and pick me up and take me golfing. And that's something that's kind of, again, where God uses things to make impact in your life, that I would spend time with Grandma Jean out on the golf course, where I've developed a love for that. And now I get to see Coach Curtis on the golf course over in Mattoon all the time. So it's just something that's always been there and important. And then, lost my other grandpa, Papa is what we called him. Big guy, always built relationship with him on sports. Cubs, he's a Cubs fan. Can't understand why. Terrible. What? Yeah, there you go. God's plan. But yeah, so lost there. Again, many of you know about. I would think I was in 7th grade when my Aunt Loretta passed away. I was not. I think I had a baseball or something. I was at Granny's house that night, and I can remember Granny. I woke up and Granny telling me what happened to Aunt Loretta, or what was going on with that. And you don't know why things happen the way that they do. On that night, with all that was going on, why, God? And sometimes you can get mad. And I think, I'm not a pastor, so we'd have to ask Pastor Woolery, but I think it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be angry with the situation, but we just have to make sure that we don't take it out on God, because God has a plan that we cannot understand, cannot do it. I think it was 7th or 8th grade, because my 8th grade confirmation here, Pastor Helmkamp let us choose we got to choose our confirmation verse. And it had come up that Loretta's confirmation verse was something that probably went real well with my life too. So it was Romans 1:16, and it is, I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for everyone who believes, first for the Jew, then for the Gentile. And I can remember saying, that's fitting that continues on within our family. And I think it's been a great reflection of me. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of the fact that I have a strong faith in Jesus. And then here you go. This is the Cox family. I'm assuming one of Grandma Jean's birthdays. What? Christmas? Christmas. Okay. Christmas. So big family. Both sides of my family, very big. Tons of cousins everywhere. Oh, where am I pointing? Center button. Oh no. Either direction? Oh. So lots of different things in life. Uncle Todd, with what happened with Uncle Todd. Just, again, why to healthy, otherwise what we thought of as healthy situations, would that happen? I'm going to skip over. Again, I didn't put the pictures in the order, so I got to skip around. Or maybe I need to go way back for my cancer ones. Okay. Oh, look, who's that lady? Whew. Okay. I'm going. First one? One more. Okay. So you guys, I forget sometimes. When I was 20 or 21? 21. Kayla always tries to remind me which it was. I think when I was 21, my junior year, I was getting ready to student teach. Yeah, okay, turned 20. I was getting ready to student teach, and I was heading to Arizona to student teach that fall. And I was working out, and I had a lump underneath my armpit. And I, no big deal, whatever. Went and ended up having to have a biopsy of it, and they said, you have cancer. First reaction to that is shock, anger, as I said. There could have been some why God's there. Why would you do this to me? I've got so much to look forward to. Even after he had protected me, just 5 years ago, it's so quick to jump on and say, oh yeah, God, but now you don't care about me. But after some initial anger, I figured, you know what? It's not my time yet. God still got something for me. So positive attitude for the most part, except for maybe sometimes I would be angry. Kayla would probably tell you that there were times where I was a grump. My mom could probably tell you there was times that I was a jerk during all those times too, especially after chemo. For a couple of days, I wasn't probably in the best mood. But I had a family, I had a community, I had a church, I had a community that surrounded around me. So these next couple of pictures are all from the benefit that they put on for me here, and you just see some great things. Is that Carol Cole right there? Okay. Is that Rose? Yep. And then Lorene right there, and then that's Jenny and Audrey Rothrock, right? Pastor, is that Pastor? Yes. Pastor, that's a nice shirt you have on there, by the way. I like that shirt. But we had benefits. You'd have to ask my parents. Oh, here's a good group. What was raised? I don't remember what it was. $30-some thousand raised at the benefit. This is after, I believe, my second chemo treatment. I remember I was standing in the shop. I was washing a car, and I took my hat off and I said, "Hey, you know what? At least I haven't lost my hair yet." And I did this because I was just like, I haven't lost it yet. And I just go boom, and I just pulled it. I pulled a big chunk out of my hair. And so that night, that's Kayla there, shaving my head. So I was going straight bald right there. So and then there's Grandma Jean sitting with me at chemo. No eyebrows, right? So lost all that stuff. Also had no chest hair. I got like a sweater going on now. So they say that sometimes chemo will change that, like what your hairstyle is. Yeah. So that was interesting. But throughout chemo, tried to stay positive attitude. Always trusted in God that He had a bigger plan for me. Always knew that there was something there still, and had the love and support of so many people, and was fortunate enough to do my 8 chemo treatments. Very little side effects throughout my chemo. So again, thank God for that. I got to finish up my senior year playing baseball. That was earlier. That's graduation. Have gotten to do so many great and cool things, including marrying my wife, Kayla, who I proposed to maybe 2 weeks after I got diagnosed with cancer. So think about what she was going through on that situation too. So, or her parents being like, when I went and asked Randy, I said, "Hey, Randy, I'm going to ask your daughter to marry me." And Marilyn says, "I need a beer." And Marilyn doesn't drink. So I'm going to need a beer. So, Marilyn, if you're watching this, I apologize for sharing that with everybody. But yeah, but God provides, and He did in that situation. So we get married. how many years were we married? 4 years before we had kids? Okay. So we were basically told because of chemo, there's probably not a very good chance that you're going to have kids on your own. So we did do in vitro, and that's how we came up with Marley and Mallory. You go back and you think about how God works in your life. Without cancer, we would have done in vitro, wouldn't have Marley and Mallory.
You'd probably be in Arizona.
And I'd probably live in Arizona. Okay? So I think about that a lot. I think you think about the terrible times in your life, bad things that happen, and then 5 years down the road, God's plan might become a little bit clearer. It may not yet. You still may have questions why, but it becomes a little bit clearer. I had opportunities to speak at 2 Relay for Lives. I've spoken at 2 Relay for Lives to share, again, just different things about my faith and going through that. So that wonderful opportunity, Marley and Mallory getting baptized right here. One of them got baptized twice because Pastor Helmkamp said the wrong name the first time. So one of them got baptized twice. But them growing up, there's Tice. Tice was 11 pounds, 9 ounces, where he's huge. But this is just us, family life now, out at Aunt Laura's. And then there's Daly and Maverick, niece and nephew. One of these points. Swim team now, we're big swimmers. There's Tice, he wants his swim cap on. The girls out selling bracelets that they had made. Youth gathering popped in there. Pastor Robert, Brian Gaddis, Matthew Baster, Brett Jarnigan, Kaylee Four, and then Kimberly Helmkamp, Carol Gaddis. We had a good time. We were in Orlando. Pastor was where we went that time. I always tell kids, be involved in whatever you can be. Just because you play sports doesn't mean you can't do the other side too, the drama, the acting, the music, the choir. I did the musicals, dinner theaters, all those things. So I was Earthquake Bagoon my sophomore year, and then I was Danny Zuko in Grease my senior year. That's the longest my hair has ever been, right there. Had a little curly Q there. And then those pictures we've talked about. And then this is kind of where my career is now. So I got to teach at the Mattoon High School for 6 years, coach football, softball, head softball coach. And then somebody came up and said, "Hey, you're a Lutheran, right?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And they said, "You have your master's in administration?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And they said, "Would you ever think about being the principal at St. John's Lutheran School?" I lived in Shelbyville my whole life. I did not know that there was a Lutheran school in Mattoon. No clue. Not a clue. I said, yeah, because I wanted to be a principal. I said, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be a great opportunity for me to connect back with my original plan, was to be a Lutheran school teacher. The cancer kind of got in the way, and I decided, you know what? I'm just going to start now. And so I got a job in Mattoon, close to home. Kayla had a job there as a math teacher, so it worked out really well. My way to come back to where I originally thought I would be. When I started at St. John's, there were 215 kids that went to St. John's. This year there are 360. This is my 7th year. There are 360 kids, and we're anticipating that there will be 390 to 400 next year. So extreme growth that we've seen at St. John's, not because of me. It's very much because of the blessings that God has given to us in our school, and hopefully the message that we're sending out. So it's been awesome to get to be a part of that place. But as you see there, it does say my first day at St. John's was this year. We never know what God has in store for you, right? In God's time, we see God in all situations. I was given the opportunity to return back to Mattoon High School to be the athletic director there starting next year. So that is where I will be. My mission of sharing my faith and teaching others will not go away. It'll just have to be done in a different way, right? I can stand up in front at chapel and talk all about Jesus and all about God at St. John's. At the high school, of course, public school is going to be very different, but you still live your life for Christ and live your life in a way of his kind of guidance. So I look forward to that challenge and that opportunity to continue on the mission of sharing Christ's love with others. There will be many challenges in life. You all have had many of your own that I'm aware of or not aware of, but understand that God's always there. Good times, bad times. The most ecstatic, fun, emotional days of your life. Getting married, having children, all those things. When they said it's a boy and his leg looks like a giant, like he's pulled it out of there because of the C-section. They're like, we didn't know what types of be boy. That was exciting, right? So those were all good things. And he was there for those, but he's been there for me too, through cancer. He's been there for me through car wreck. He's been there for me through loss of family members, through times where when my scans would come up afterwards, my checkup scans, I would get nervous about that every time. And I'm sure those of you that have been through similar situations, it just scares you. Because we don't know what the future holds. God does. And we have to put our full faith and trust in all that he does. So that's what I need to get better at. I stand up here acting like, I've got it all. I don't. I still have questions and I still want to know. But when we rely on God, that's where we find our strength. Find our strength in relying and trusting in what he's got planned for us, and understanding that he's always there. Goes back to, again, the first Bible verse I ever feel like I ever memorized here, that God is there no matter what. He's our refuge and strength, ever present, always, all the time. And I tell kids that every day at St. John's, and it's a big part of what I do and who I am. And I'm so thankful for that opportunity to be there. Now, Mom took that picture today. I don't look that good there. It's a terrible picture. Yeah. But yeah, it's been an absolute blessing to be there. Look forward to how God continues to use those kids that I get to impact each and every day, and how he'll continue to use me throughout my time that I have left. How long that will be, that's God's plan. But he'll be there he'll be there through all things with me, and I'm fully trust that and fully support, fully thank God for the blessings that I have been given. So I'll say questions, and then I'll close with prayer after we do questions, I guess.
Well, I just have to say, you forgot about the first time you were saying about God giving my mom the knowledge to turn him upside down when you stopped breathing.
So, yeah. So I stopped breathing, I held my breath. So I used to have apparently a temper as a baby, and I would hold my breath until I passed out. But Jill was 12. I don't remember. I think he was 12.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So I was little and freaked out because he was blue. And my mom's like, turn him upside down. Shook it. Yeah. So anyway, that's the first time God's
save me. Yeah. Thank you, Jill. See, if it wasn't for Jill, right? How many times do we say that here at Holy Cross? If it wasn't for Jill, right? So thank you, Jill. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for that. That was amazing. I really appreciate you coming over. I know it's a lot because of all your 3 kids are at their other grandparents' house, so I appreciate you taking the time. And I wanted, it's not on.
It's dead. It's flashing red.
I wanted Kayla to talk, but she won't. So does anyone have any questions for Trent?
Or Kayla. No. I talked too long for questions.
You talked about options, the option to go to church, going to church and so forth.
Yeah.
One of the things that, our kids would say, do I have to go to church? And I said, no, you get to go to church.
That's right.
It's not that you have to, you get to.
Yep.
It's a privilege to go to church, to be a part of this fellowship that is molded you into the man that you are today.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Second thing, you talked about the Bible Bowl.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in that room back there. We go through the book of Acts,
Oh man, yeah.
and you and Robert, probably two of the most competitive kids in the Bible Bowl. But I would have to say that you are the most competitive I've ever seen.
Well, yeah. You want to win. If you're going to do something, you might as well win, right?
You want to win.
Wonder why that was.
And we went through that book of Acts, and we got down, and we did good. We didn't win first
No.
place or anything, but I could probably ask you a question about the book of Acts, and you could answer it today.
I might be able to. Yeah.
What kind of clothes did John the Baptist wear?
What? Oh well, clothes of shoot. Eat locusts and honey. Animal skins, right? Camel skin. Okay.
What kind of a belt?
Oh, I don't know. I can't
Leather
remember.
belt.
Okay. See, you already stumped me. Now you make me look bad. No, but it was an honor to get to that. It's amazing. I know that Shelbyville doesn't have a place like St. John's, a Lutheran school. But the stuff that our kids know, like that's why we got beat, John, because we always got beat by the churches that had schools, and they got to do it 5 days a week, right? That's why we get beat. But that's amazing. And just a little bit about that. Hey, we've got kids from Shelbyville that come to St. John's. We got kids from Cumberland. We got kids from Sullivan. We got kids from Arcola. All kinds of places. They're looking to grow over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't hear something about like St. John's Lutheran High School over there someday, one of these days. So that's just something to keep on your radar. Pray for. We take your prayers on that for that piece.
And the last thing I want to talk about is your character. I had the privilege of writing a letter of recommendation for you when you applied to be a principal. I think Pastor also wrote one. And part of the message that I wrote, and I don't think you ever got to read it because they were sealed.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I
I
don't think
said
so.
It was my first heart surgery, and I had a hole in the back of my heart that the surgeon tore a hole in the back of my heart. They ended up having to turn me on my side, break 2 ribs, go in and sew the back of my heart up. And I was overwhelmed with the cards that I got from this congregation. I probably had at least 30 to 40 cards coming to the hospital from this congregation. But the one I looked at and treasured probably the most was from Trent Duckett. And Trent Duckett said, "Hurry up, get well soon. I miss you in front of me in church." Because I sat in front of Trent and his parents in church, and that was our pew, even though Pastor Woolery might want to move us around a little bit. But that spoke of your character more than anything I could think of, because, yeah, I expected a letter from Pastor or a card from Pastor and from, the ladies of the church and everything. But here this kid, and I don't even know how old you were at the time, but it's been, about 15 years ago now, so you're about 20, that you sent me a card at the hospital and said, "Hurry up and get well soon. I miss you in front of me."
Well,
and I said, this speaks to the character of this young man.
Oh, thank you. But that speaks to the character of all the people that helped raise me. So my mom and my dad and my grandparents and all of my family and this place. So takes a village, right, to raise, and it's even more important that it's a faith-filled village. So as much as we can surround people with faith, I appreciate that. Thank you, John, though, and you big part of my life and where I am today comes from sitting in that back corner room all those weeks of Sunday school and years of Sunday school. So I appreciate that so much. So thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, that's simple. That's easy. Good. I talk long enough that everybody's like, let's go to bed.
Surely Coach Curtis has something to say.
Yeah. She was.
I want to know if you thought that when we were in the freshman tournament and we lost our starting guard, academics, and you hadn't played point guard, if you thought during those 3 games that God was still with you when I was there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little awkward I was the biggest kid on the team. So we didn't have a tall team by any means. I mean, I was probably this close to this height by then, but I was typically the post guy or center guy, so, yeah, it's a little scary, right? But no, we did very well in that tournament. Had a lot of fun with Coach Curtis and just in general. I can remember morning practice. We're not going to quit running until somebody throws up. I might have been the one that threw up that morning. I don't know. But that's the way it used to be. It's not so much that way anymore, but I think a lot of that stuff is ingrained in you, and you have a lot of fun with it. I don't know, Clay probably has stories too. I don't know. I'm sure. So just different situations of dealing with being involved in sports. Whatever you can get involved with, kids. I know most of us are past our sports prime. Although I'm getting better at golf. One of these days, I'm going to teach Coach Curtis a thing or two out on the golf course. But whatever you can be, whatever you can be involved in, get involved with it, because it's important, and that goes for high school, college, all those things. Whatever you can do.
I just want to say one last thing if nobody else has anything. But what I gather most from Trent's thing, because I know how faithful all of his family is and how they focus on God. But one thing that a lot of us could do better that he does really well, I think, is has a great passion for what he believes in, and he spreads that. And what I've always said about Trent is he's like the big kid always. Like, I don't know if he seems like he's still 20 to me, but maybe that's because I babysat him. But I think it's because he has so much energy. And I think, he says get involved in whatever you can get involved in with the kids, but I think it's for all of the adults too. Get involved in something at church and show passion about it. And, it rubs off on other people. And I'm sure you are a part of your school growing. I think there's no doubt. And I think they probably are very sad that you're leaving. But I know you'll do great things in Mattoon, and I appreciate you sharing, and have been very blessed to watch you grow up. And it's just really nice to see you get up and share your story. And we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I picked a job where I would always be around kids so I could somewhat be a kid my whole life, right? So that's why I chose to be in education. I had great teachers. Always enjoyed that. It's always been the right fit for me. And I can remember my senior year, we got to choose anybody like if we could work it out with them, we could go anywhere to job shadow, basically to do a mentoring program. And I had cleaned enough carpets in my life by that time that I didn't need to go do that. But I chose to shadow the athletic director at the high school because I thought that might be something that I would want to do someday. So that's what I did, and worked with Coach Ross at that point in time. And it's weird how things find their way around and how God will use you in different places and at different times. God has a calling for each and every one of us. We all have callings. But like Jill said, get involved. Even as adults, doesn't matter. I love what this place, what Holy Cross has meant to me. I love the people here. I can remember being an usher, passing out, get kids involved in that stuff, be a role model for kids so that they can do that and get involved in their church, because instilling that in them, the opportunity, the blessing that it is to go to church, that carries on. That carries on, and get that fire lit, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I've never been too worried about people that maybe aren't believers, what they think, because I want to share. I want them to have the opportunity to hear. And so nervous, yeah, sometimes I do get nervous, even though I act like I don't. But never about, sharing what I believe, because I believe it. So thank you for all that you've been. Thank you for taking the time. Kept you longer than normal, probably.
No, I just have one question.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you were at St. John's for, I don't know how many years, can't remember what.
7 years. So this is my 7th year.
What ultimately made you want to go to public school?
What makes you want to go back?
Yeah.
Boy, man, this is going to be on the internet. I would say, first off, I would say that I'm not, I guess I would fall into the category of a person I can't do, I would not, I don't want to do the same thing forever. I'm a person that likes change. I mean, I think public school, I think there's some great opportunity for Christian leaders. And I know it can't be outward and like I can't stand up there and talk about Jesus, stand out there in the hallways and do those things. But a lot of the way people follow role models is by seeing how they act and how they live their life. So living a Christian life of faith, I think it's important that we have those in public school. I understand. I understand that people might say, "Well, we're losing out an opportunity for you to do those things here with us." But everybody needs to hear about Jesus. Everybody needs to see Christian role models, and now in today's world, male Christian role models. I think it's important. It's important for our community in Mattoon to have that. I'm looking forward to that challenge on how that works. But it kind of goes back to something I always wanted to do. I look forward to seeing how God will use me in that spot, in that position, and how that can continue to grow and strengthen my faith, but also hopefully strengthen the faith of others that are around me, because I'll have those opportunities to lean on my faith and share my faith in ways with students, with staff, and with our community members in Mattoon. So that's important. That's an important piece, I think, for me. So. Yeah. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? Like I said, I'm not in every. I won't be able to do something forever. So that's just not. That's me. Anybody else? All right. Well, if you would all please pray with me. You want to stand? Oh, let's stand for prayer. Dear good and gracious Father, we thank you for this day, the blessing it is to be here in your house and to, in all things, focus our eyes on you. We thank you for all the blessings that you pour out upon us, even sometimes the blessings that we didn't know we needed or we weren't ready for, or things that we may not think are blessings. We know that you work in all situations at all times, and you are always a part of our lives. I thank you for each and every one of these people. I thank you for the work that you do here at Holy Cross and the work that these people do in our community. We ask that you would continue to guide and lead us, that we could always keep our eyes focused on you. I ask that you would keep us safe this evening and as we return to our vocations or to school tomorrow. We ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and listening to me.